With the departure of Matt Keeley, Tyler Ojanen, he takes the reins of a highly successful OUAZ basketball program. Coach Ojanen is settled in, and he's ready to make his mark in the desert. We're going to talk Spirit basketball. Cascade Hoops Talk starts right now. Coach Tyler Ojanen, he's taken over a highly successful OUAZ program. As you know, they got to that Fab Four in just a few years of operation. That's a school that just sprouted up out of the desert. Matt Keeley had a lot of success there. Tyler Ojanen now he's taken the reins. He's ready to make it his own. He's recruited a lot of new guys, and there's a lot of excitement around Surprise, Arizona for OUAZ basketball. Let's talk to Tyler Ojanen. He's the new head coach, OUAZ Spirit Basketball.
Cascade Hoops Talk, Billy D. Hey, I got Tyler Ojanen. He's the new head men's basketball coach at OUAZ, Ottawa, Arizona. Welcome, Coach.
Thanks, Billy, for having me on today.
You know, Coach, I should have asked you this before we started, but the first guy I heard from when you got the job there was Coach Barikoff over at Oklahoma City. Is he a friend of yours, or how do you know him?
Yeah, so his brother was my college roommate.
Oh, okay.
So, yep, his brother's one of my best friends, best man at my wedding, lifelong friend. And so just met him in college, went there, and not lifelongs, but, been there since college and been my best friend since then. So I got to know Mark, and Mark actually, we're in college, and Mark was actually coaching slam ball at the time, if you remember slam ball.
Yeah. He told me you did that.
Yeah, he was coaching slam ball, and so we'd drive over to Universal Studios and watch his teams coach, and it was fun. And I tell you what, TV did not do that justice. If you could watch it in person for 30 minutes, it was pretty impressive.
You know, Coach Barikoff, he's a basketball coach, but I think his first love is the Dodgers.
Yep. So yep. And so actually our second game of the year this year is actually against Oklahoma City. So yeah, it'll be funny playing against them.
I want to talk about your background, because you're definitely not new to coaching, but you did play. You and I just talked. You did play NAI basketball down at Cal Baptist. You've been around a lot. You're an overnight sensation that it took 20 years to get to OUAZ. But I'm being facetious. But you've been around a lot. Before I start that, I want to know what your welcome has been like at OUAZ. That's a program and an institution that I really respect. I've made a lot of friends there. I think it's a real family atmosphere. That's my feel for it. What has your reception been there at OUAZ?
Yeah, the people are great. That's been a blessing, right? That's been a sweet blessing. The Steele family, Kevin and Kristen Steele, are athletic directors, welcoming right away. But then right when you walk in to the hallway, almost all the coaches share one hallway. And as you walk down, it's, how can we help? What can we do? And right away when I got the job, our swim coach, his house burned down, and you just saw the outpour of all the coaches like trying to help. Like the text thread that came through, the prayers that came through, the financial support that came through, and you just felt the family atmosphere of it. Now each coach is fighting really hard for their program and working really hard to make their program grow and help their kids, but then all of a sudden they can come together so quickly for one another. That's been really impressive, right? And so really thankful for that. Even our strength coaches, everyone's there to help. It's been a nice blessing.
Coach, I was joking about you being a 20-year overnight success, but you've been an assistant, and not just an assistant, but you've held so many roles at a lot of schools, primarily in California, San Jose State, Cal State East Bay. There's a lot of others, but your background is, I've never seen a background quite as varied. You've been a video coordinator. You've been a director of basketball operations. I've read in other articles where you're really key in recruiting. You've been involved in all the background aspects of running a program. Most recently, you were coaching at a high school, but now you're over at OUAZ. You had a great run at Northern Arizona as an assistant. Just talk a little bit about your background and how you believe it's prepared you to be successful at OUAZ.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because so I was a JV boys basketball coach for 3 years, right?
Mm.
I wanted to get into college. I wanted to make a crack into college. I really didn't care what level or where I cracked into college. I just wanted to be a college basketball coach. My wife and I were picking up kids on Sunday morning, taking them to church, and
Hmm.
had kids going to FCA camp with us. And so it became just like, okay, we can have a great impact for the community, for God, and all these things. And so it was like, okay, I want to be around these kids all day, all time to really help them. And so we moved out to California because there was just more opportunity in California at the time. That was where she was from. Because at the time in Arizona, Grand Canyon was still a Division II school, and there was 3 Division Is, and then it was junior college, and there wasn't that much opportunity per se here in the state of Arizona. And so we moved out to the Bay to be closer to our family, but you also opened yourself up to like 100 schools, Division
Yeah.
I, II, III. You just gave yourself more of a net to get a job. And so I tell you all that to that answer because I remember I got a connection to work camps at St. Mary's College. So I'm working summer camps, and I still remember the spot and the location. I was sitting with Coach Bennett at team camp, and I'm trying to break through. I'm like, he still hasn't told me if I'm going to get to stay on and be the volunteer video coordinator for the year,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So it's like the last day of team camp. It's a Sunday, and I'm sitting there with Coach Bennett, and he's like, so this is what you want to do, huh? And I'm like, yeah, I want to be a head coach. And he's like, he's like, and I started, he's like, there's so much you need to know about running a program. You think it's just, you watch it and you just think it's the X's and the O's and the game. That's only like 5% of it. And
Right.
he's like, you got to learn how to run a program. Like there's so much to it that you just don't know. And I remember that vividly. And then I get to go into work with him, and he's the master to me. Like I was so blessed to be around him. I tell everybody, I think he's the closest thing to John Wooden out there. He's just such a machine. He's so dialed. He's such a good person. And so I just got to see the workings of a program from every step of the way. And so every time I've tried to interview for many head coaching jobs, like you said.
Hmm.
And it's always said, I've been able to see all the aspects of it, right? How you want to do this, how you want to do that, how you want to do that. And I think it's helped me step in right away and to be able to go quickly on how our culture is going to operate, how our environment's going to operate on a daily basis, how I want our staff to operate on a daily basis. Now, there are adjustments for each place you go to, like how you turn in your credit card at one place is different how you turn in your credit card at one
Oh,
place,
yeah.
right? Right. And so how you do your receipts is different each time. How you turn in your schedule is a little different. Learning the computer systems, those are the different changes, but the 95% of how a program should run on a daily basis. I was really fortunate to work with really good coaches. Coach Dave Wojcik at San Jose State, and he was like he could be a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. He was so organized, so detailed, and just I've been around so many different things. And not only that, really good assistant coaches. The assistant coaches I've worked with are like head coaches now. Head coach at Cal Baptist, head coach at Hawaii, head coach at Stanford,
Hmm.
former head coach at Sacramento State, assistant coach with the Washington Wizards. I mean, I
Wow.
can go on of the people I've worked with that I've got to see how it really operates at a high level, and so I've just been really blessed for that.
As you go through and you take on all these various roles, because at each stop your roles were slightly different. You learned another aspect of running a program. I don't talk about my background much, but I'm going to give you a parallel. I was a manufacturing guy, and I had the good fortune in my career to virtually do everything from environmental to process improvement, running plants. But coming up through and doing all the different jobs, I always believed that somebody had to go through maintenance. I was a maintenance superintendent for a period of time, and I thought that's where you really learned manufacturing, was being part of that. The parallel to that is, as you came up through there, was there any one thing where you said, if you're going to coach, you really need to know this? This is one piece you have to go through.
Yeah, I would say just be the video guy.
Okay.
Um, and that would be, and I say that more for, I at St. Mary's, I got to help assist on every scout. And that's really where, if you're going to talk about X's and O's in the game, that's where it really like kicked in for me, where I kind of learned and got to study. It was like, okay, I got to watch every scout be a hand in it. And you got to see how coaches are playing. You got to see the X's and O's. You got to see the delivery and putting. I just thought that's where you learn. Like Coach Bennett said, there's the organization piece that you just kind of naturally, when you show up every day, you see how it goes, right?
Right.
But the true learning, studying piece for the game of basketball comes from that video coordinator position.
I would imagine you'd pick up a lot of the tactical side of the game doing that.
Yes.
Yeah.
You just get to learn of like how, and more for me, it's more about how you want to see the game played and how you want to show up every night and watch it, right? Like I tell our teams, and it's no big deal, but I tell our teams, hey, I'd rather lose like the Warriors than win like the Dallas Mavericks. Nothing wrong with it, but I'd rather play with ball movement, body movement, guys passing than just watching a couple guys do these things. Doesn't mean it's wrong, doesn't mean it's better. It's just, that's what I like to be around, and I think that's what you kind of really got to grow through of like, this is what I feel comfortable with, and I watch whether you win or lose, because you might lose that way, but you got to feel comfortable how you lose.
That's pretty interesting. That I can see that though. That makes a lot of sense. I want you to talk about your time at Northern Arizona. I know you were Silver Waves Media, named one of the most impactful assistants in the country. What was it about that stint there that seemed like a special piece of your career at Northern Arizona?
Yeah, it was good for me. I give Coach Burkar a lot of credit on. He gave me a really opportunity to find and discover my voice and my leadership style, and how, because each step of the way, like you said, you gain a little bit more and more responsibility, right? And there, it was almost like I got to help really run the program. And so I really got to find my presence on the court. I really got to find my voice, how I want to do things. So I'm really thankful for that opportunity.
You're at OUAZ now. This is a program that really came on, got to the Fabulous Four, whatever the NAI calls it, the last four teams. Very
Fab
quick.
Four, I think it is.
Fab Four. I don't ever want to say it wrong. But very, very quickly and I used to tease Matt Keeley all the time about, coming out and digging a hole in the desert, making a school, and what was 3-4 years later, they were in Kansas City. The last season, another great year for them, 19-11. The school has had some big graduations. McKay's graduated now. A couple years ago, they lost a couple other players. So I think it's kind of, you're just beginning to enter that. I'm trying to say you're just beginning to enter kind of that second phase of the program. So as you look at it, what do you see as the state of the program?
Kudos to Coach Keeley, right? Not only is he just a fantastic person, like you talk about gracious, and you were talking about Danny Miles before we started and how gracious and kind he was. Coach Keeley he's in between jobs. He was still living here, going back and forth from Northwest Missouri State. And him and I had a decent relationship during when he was the coach at Ottawa. But then I was asking him a couple of questions, and then he's like, let's go get lunch. And he took out 3 hours of his time to get lunch with me and just kind of tell me the inner workings of some NAIA stuff, some inner workings of how things go at Ottawa. I was just like, what a stud, what a stud. And, he had an acronym. They called it FAST, right? That's how he talks about they wanted to play fast and do fast. And I said, you talk about how fast they got to success was really quick, right? And so they elevated the level of the job to like where everyone you talk to says, man, it's a good job. And so now it's on us and our new players and our new staff to continue that. Like we haven't tried to, I think when you get a coaching job, you can probably do one or two things. You can try to destroy the old staff and say this, and this, and really try to make yourself like the program builder, or you can embrace the history of the school. And that's what we've done. We've embraced the history of the program, all the trophies that the guys won and all the signs that they won. Coach Keeley had them in the office. I moved them down into the locker room because they're theirs. They're theirs. They have the nets, the things, and
right.
You walk in our locker room. There's pictures of the old team and the old players and because it's bigger than all of us, right? And I'm just right now. I'm just the steward for however long God gets to keep me as the head coach at Ottawa University, and so I want to celebrate their success. But I got to be myself, right? Like Coach Keeley's himself, and even if I say the same thing as Coach Keeley, it's going to be different because it's coming from a different person and different. It
That's right.
sounds different.
Yeah.
It's a different voice, right? And so it's not better. It's not worse. It's just what we're doing. And so there's been an adjustment period for the guys that are returning, and then also all the guys that are coming in. But your main question was how we're trying to keep the staff, how to keep this thing rolling. And I think the adjustment for us is just I can't ask for a better group of guys, of like people and character, on and off the court. Not saying they're perfect and anything, but man, they've been fun to be around. They've been really embracing the culture and the brotherhood we're trying to be about. You know, we're trying to build that rare environment. We talk about building the rare environment built on the values of Jesus Christ, and that's what we're trying to do. We have a great staff. I think I'm so blessed to have a great staff. We have 6 coaches on staff, right? And so we're elevating. You're saying trying to keep it going. Well, now adding more hands and more labor, so that the guys are well taken care of and provided for, right? You know, we want our guys to feel like there's always someone they can count on, always a relationship that you can lean on. Because, you know, if the less coaches you have, you can only give so much of your time to each of your players, right? And so we want our players to feel like they're getting taken care of and that we're looking out for them, because that matters to us. You know, I was an NAI player, like you said, and you just want to have a great experience, you know. And you're like you talked about the love of the game and the small college basketball. Well, yeah, the enjoyment matters. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if you show up to practice and it's just drudgery, well, then what are the perks? And so the environment matters, the people matter, the coach. So we're just trying to elevate that. That's been one of our main focuses.
So let's talk about the 24-25 spirit. You haven't updated your roster yet, so I'm operating a little blind, but you'll help me out. I know that McKay Bundy has graduated, so you're coming in and you're basically turning over the roster, which could be a good thing, but coming in, building your own team. I'm sure you've hit the recruiting trail. Before we talk about any specific players, you know, how do you feel about 24-25 spirit as you come into this season?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, we didn't want to turn over the roster intentionally. It was just kind of what happened, right? Once Coach left, some guys were out, some guys
Mm-hmm.
graduated, and so it wasn't like we came in and you know, when I got interviewed for the job, I just said, you're my players now, right? That's why I look at it. I love you, I'll care for you, and but it'll be different. But if you want to be part of it, be part of it. And you know, there's a couple of guys that said, you know, I just don't want to play basketball anymore, or they decided to leave before we even hired a coach. And so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and so we've been able to build a roster, and we're skilled, we're fast, we're scrappy, but we're going to find ourselves probably playing a little bit more on the smaller side than the bigger side, you know, which is all right. And so we gotta win together, we gotta play together, and that's what we're going to try to do. And I think that's a fun way to play, right? We're always counting on one another, and so yeah, we'd have to have a great team connectivity each and every night.
You said you probably play a little bit faster or smaller. Is that the style that you would typically go for, or is this kind of because of the team you put together?
Yeah, you know, like I want to play fast. I don't want to shoot fast. We've talked like we want to be playing quick and trying to get up and down the court quickly, but it doesn't mean you just have to take a shot right away.
Yeah.
But we want to move with speed. We want to move with pace, and so we want to be moving well. But I would say this year and moving forward for Ottawa basketball is probably the style that I've not really comfortable with per se, like never really done it, but it's probably the style and the way that we need to play to keep elevating Ottawa basketball. And so it's going to be an adjustment for me a little bit, and it's going to be an adjustment for the guys, but that's probably what we have to do on a consistent basis, just so that it seems like that's the type of player we're going to attract at Ottawa and we're going to be able to get. So we got to keep learning how to play that way.
Coach, as you fill up the roster, have you primarily looked for transfers or the high schools? Where have you been looking primarily?
We looked at all under all rocks.
All
We went
above.
we told it over every rock. probably the one area, we got the job May 15th. And so the one area we really didn't turn over was Division I transfers. We really didn't turn that rock over. But after that, and transparently, the players we got came from relationships. Like, each one, I could just go through and say, okay, there was a friendship here, there's a friendship here. There's only like one or two that came out of like, we didn't know anybody and we went after someone and got, right? And so it was more based on, okay, who do I know? Who do we know as a staff? Who do we trust to tell us the truth? Because in the recruiting game, you're probably getting, if you don't know the person, you're probably getting 45% of the truth,
Mm-hmm.
and so you're really, if you're trying to deal on, especially coming in so late, the truth matters so much. And it always matters, but because you're not getting to see a ton with your own eyes and in person and be around the person. So you're really relying on people to tell you the truth on the type of person you're getting. Forget the player. The player's easy to see on the film and those things. It's who is this person on a daily basis? Are they going to go to class? Are they going to show up on time? Are they going to be there? Are they going to be a good representative of the campus and the community? And so, like, to get that answer, you better hopefully know the coach that you're recruiting from to get the truth.
So, Coach, can you talk about some of the key transfers or that you've brought in to fill the roster?
All of them, all of them. No, yeah, they're all key, and that's no joke. We want all of them to be important. We want all of them to feel valued. But yeah, like first I can start with the guys that are returning. Like, there are some good players. Angelo Gill is a very
Mm-hmm.
talented guard. He didn't get a ton of playing time last year, but he's a
No.
very talented player. I'm very thankful and pleased of how he's adapting and embracing what we're about. He's been outstanding so far in the weight room and conditioning, what we've been doing.
Yeah. And he's
Um,
a young guy too.
there,
He's just a sophomore, right?
yeah, he's a young guy, and so he's been good, and so been thankful for that. Hunter Richardson, he's been great, and at that lunch with Coach Keeley, he's like, I should have played Hunter more last season, and I'm like, all right, I filed that away, and I told Hunter that, so I'm like, we hope Hunter can be a vital part in what we do. He's a smart kid. He's a hard worker. He's a great student. He's just everything you want your program to stand for. Then we had Quinn Thorne, who was actually hurt most of the time last year, but man, he's moving well right now, and he can really shoot, and he's the son of a coach, and so he's just got a nice feel for the game. And then, yeah, some of the guys we brought in, so then this is where I talk about like the relationship, Quinn said, hey, coach, my college roommate, Zeke Bukala from Westmont, is looking to leave. He's transferring. We,
Mm-hmm.
we got Zeke. So Zeke played in the GSAC before, can really shoot it. We got CJ Reed coming in from Regis. And so
Okay.
he played about 25 minutes a game at Regis University. And that was another relationship. And he's been such a joy to be around. He's been great on just, he was our first person I gave a visit to on campus. Right. And so then we have a player coming in that moved in, and it was Darius Kendall, who was at West Valley Junior College, who's just this ultimate scrapper, fighter, really knows how to play. He went 34-0 at West Valley Junior College, won a state championship. So he's been a great addition to our program. But CJ's giving him the tour around campus. And it's like, that's the type of people. I didn't even ask CJ to do it. CJ met him and toured him around,
Oh,
and so it's like, all
cool.
right. So CJ's been a great blessing to have. Tremaine Lee, he's from Glendale Junior College. He was an all-conference player and can really shoot the ball. We got Jack, and I struggle saying Jack's last name right now, Gillardy, but Jack Gillardy's coming up from Washington area. He was actually at Portland Junior College, community college, and he is just a dynamic athlete. Xavier Santacaza, we got from Phoenix Junior College, and he's just got the heart of a champion. I love being around him. He's so important to our culture on a daily basis. And so, yeah, I'm probably missing one, two. Another key piece for our season is going to be Reggie Orr. Reggie Orr is a local kid. He was at SAGU, AIC, now Nelson College,
Mm-hmm.
and he came over to play for us, and he's just a really good scorer. So he's going to be a key piece for us. We're going to need him to be good. And then we got one freshman, Jared Deuce Lloyd from Long Beach, played at a great program in St. Anthony's, and he is a great passer, dynamic passer, really knows how to play the game. And so I'm looking forward to what he has for the future has for him.
Well, it's got to be exciting for you. I mean, it sounds like a great group. You've got some key returners coming back, and I know you have great support there at the university as well. You got to be pretty excited.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. And learning. Everyone says, "How's it going?" I think learning how to manage the daily highs and lows of being a head coach now is where I'm at, right? And so they come quickly, they come often, and you get a text us right now. We're on the call. Hey, Coach, I'm out. I'm sick. I'm throwing up. Like those come often, and just as kids adapt to the place and be there, and you just learn how to roll with those, right? And manage those and do those, and then. I got 4 kids, and my wife calls me last night.
Wow.
And my youngest lost his 2 front teeth on the basketball court last night, fell on them, and they're knocked out. So you're just kind of learning how to manage all these things, right? And every day's a new day. And that's a funny statement, but I've never walked through it, right? Obviously, every day's a new day, but you can get to a place where, especially as an assistant coach, you get your rhythm, you get your flow going, and you just kind of can do it. But as the head coach, it just feels like every day is a new day, especially when it's your first time.
Coach, I've had so many head coaches tell me that when they move over. I say, what did you find? What surprised you? And they always say just the amount, like the fire hose that's coming at you. It's just constant.
I don't know. It's just everybody needs something from you now, right?
Yeah.
And in a good way. Everyone's looking for you to give them something they need, whether it's guidance, whether it's affirmation, whether it's a decision, whatever it is, they're just looking for you to give them something, right? They need something from you. And it's not a bad thing. It's just, and then you come home and then there's more people that need something from you, right? And so it really is like it's Jesus, like the good shepherd. You are shepherding and you're doing those things and you're shepherding and you're really trying to look after the people and say, okay, what is best for this person? How am I helping this person? And how am I helping the organization at the same time? And those are, sometimes those always don't coexist, right? What's best for that person in the moment and what's best for the organization. That's when those things get tricky.
So before I let you go, I want to talk to you about the GSAC. It's a conference you played in at Cal Baptist. You're familiar with NAI basketball. It's a tough conference.
Yeah, great league, great coaches. Yeah, and obviously the new conference shaping up with more Arizona teams than California teams will be a twist, right?
That's right. Because Jessup now is D2. I'm trying to remember now. Is it
Vanguard?
Menlo and Vanguard, right?
Yeah.
So you got Life Pacific, and then you had other teams come into the conference as well.
When I played in the GSAC in 2002, it was only Southern California schools, right? Azusa Pacific, Point Loma, Biola, Concordia, and Concordia was winning national championships at the time. Azusa Pacific was in the top 5. They actually won when Concordia won the national championship. Azusa Pacific actually won the regular season title that year. They were good, and San Diego Christian, the Masters, and so now it's just had this complete overhaul, right? Where there's only 3 teams in California now: Hope, Life Pacific, and the Masters. And then now you got the teams in Arizona. You got Ottawa, you got Arizona Christian, who's been great. Coach Rudder was actually supposed to be my assistant coach at Cal Baptist when I signed. I went to Cal Baptist. He was the assistant coach. And then they left, the coaching staff left. They got a whole new coaching staff. So he was supposed to be my assistant coach. And so then you got Arizona Christian, you got Park University, you got Mesa Benedictine, you got Emory Riddle. And so you got now we're able to travel easy for us. It makes it easier travel for us. It's hurt us. Where it's hurt us is it's harder to find non-conference games now, right? Like if you were playing here, you can just always get those schools in your non-conference, and it made that easier. So now non-conference has become more of a challenge for us, right? To just get games and to really manage the budget well and do that well. That's become pretty difficult to do, and still provide a good schedule for your players, to provide a good ARC rating for the rating committee, and to get and to save money and to do those things, because some of those things become challenging.
It's a tough go on how to fit those teams, especially in California, and then together. Arizona's part of that, piece of that too. But I look at the CalPAC, and it's like, well, where do they grow? Where are they going to grow from?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, it seems like every year another team is going. Antelope Valley's gone now. It's just a tough situation, and they're too far a drive, and the Cascades too big to grow into them. You understand what I'm saying? It's that
Yeah.
whole Northern California piece they're a little bit out there in no man's land.
Yeah, I think everything's a trickle down effect, right? And so, I mean, shoot, today 4 teams decided they said they're going to leave the Mountain West and go to the Pac-12, right? The Pac-12 is trying to reshape, and they're taking San Diego State, Fresno State, Boise State. I can't remember the other school that they're going to take with them from the Mountain West and absorb them into the Pac-12. And it's just this trickle down effect, right? And then it spreads to Division II, and then all these schools are going up to Division II, and it's just,
Yeah.
man, it's hard. And so the stability factor is, like you said, it's like, where's the room for growth, which is good for the Arizona schools right now. We have Arizona schools here, right? And there's still two schools. There's a couple other schools in Arizona that aren't in our league yet that always are, like, you talk about room for growth, right?
Yeah.
There's that possibility.
Well, it's just something. I mean, we'll have to see how it plays out.
And Vanguard was in the GSAC when I played. They've been there forever. Now they're going D2, and you just look at all those schools down there. There's so many GSAC schools that are now in that Division II league, the Pac West.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see how it plays out. I'm going to go down to Simpson this year in the preseason. I've never covered a game from there. It's not that far. It's like 6-7 hours away from me. I'll go down there this year. That's a school right there that they've really made a lot of investments. They basically grew that program out of nothing there in Reading, that school. But it's they're just in a tough position. Anyway, that's all.
Yeah. No, but like we talked about before we got on the phone, is that athletics matters for the growth of a campus, right? I mean, most campuses, like we said, are known for their athletics, and there's only so many few schools in the country like really known for their academics. And so academics matters. I think they go hand in hand. Athletics can help academics, and academics can help athletics. They go hand in hand, and you got to invest in both. And it just adds you visibility. And I think if you're doing it for the reason of helping people, nothing helps people better than athletics. It's just why I do it. It's life transformation. It is truly can transform the heart and soul of a person. And so you can really, the Billy Graham quote of, one coach can impact more people in a year than a person can in their lifetime. It's just the truth. It really is.
And also, I have a very, very firm belief that it's in everybody's best interest just help out any school you can, because the higher percentage of schools that are successful athletically, it just helps the whole NAI and whatever conference they're in as well.
Yeah. We need to keep fighting to keep growing NAI, right?
Yeah.
And so those things matter.
Well, Coach, it sounds like you got your work cut out for you. I'm excited to get the season started. Where are you starting the season at?
Our first game is October 24th at Justice College. That's one of the local schools here. And then a couple of days later, we'll fly out to Oklahoma City, and we'll play 3 games at I think it's the Abe Lemons Classic with Coach Barakoff.
Oh, I didn't know you guys were in that. I should have known that. Okay. That'll be fun for you, won't it?
Yeah, it'd be great. It'd be great for our guys. It'd be a great test right away. It'd be a good team bonding. It's what we need, right? Right away to get ourselves in the fire. Because this group, we got to learn how to win together, right? We got to learn how to win daily together. And that's what we're working through right now. And I don't know if we have our hands cut out or use our hands full, but we got a great staff. And so we got the right people. I just feel like I feel really good about the people we have in the organization right now on the bus. Now it's just keep getting them moving in the right direction. But we have fantastic people every day.
Well, Coach, I wish you a lot of luck. Hope to get you back on the phone as the season gets going, talk some GSAC and some Spirit basketball. I think I'd really enjoy that.
Yep, that'd be great. Let me know.
That's Coach Tyler Ojanen. He's the head men's basketball coach at OUAZ. That's a name I'm going to have to practice, Coach.
That's all right. There's a lot of I got it all my life. It's all good.
Hey, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Billy.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to the show. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Also, please like and subscribe this show wherever you watch or listen to it. It helps a lot. And if you have a question you'd like answered on the show, just send me a note at cascadehoopstalk@gmail.com or just shoot me a DM on Twitter. I hope you enjoyed the show. Enjoy your day. We'll see you next time. Yours truly, Billy D. Thank you very much for supporting our podcast. Please like and subscribe. Get out to your local NAI school because NAI basketball is the best entertainment value in America.